Now, last week we brought you an exclusive report from our own investigative reporter, Sarah Carter. Authorities telling her that Mexican drug cartels that they're growing marijuana with illegal immigrant labor inside Los Angeles County. Now, it's almost hard to believe, but you can see the pictures we have right there on the screen. Yeah, that would be marijuana grown illegally. They're grow houses is what they call them. Local residents, they're terrified. Here with more of Sarah's report, that we have not shown you, is Sarah Carter.
You've decided to speak to me without showing your face.
Yes.
And part of that is because?
Because we have a fear. They do not. But the residents here do have the fear. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be the other way around. My son is here and his children, and he's concerned about it, and he's surrounded where he lives with these hoop houses, and they're becoming more brazen. It's just lawlessness out here in the desert.
Feel like it's the Wild West?
Yes, very much so. It's frightening the way it's headed, and if we don't do something, it's just going to get worse.
Not knowing who the people are, not knowing what they come from, and knowing what they're doing, which is an illegal activity, yeah, it's real unnerving.
What's your worst fear about what could actually happen to your community?
Well, I'm assuming that people that live out here like myself for years are in the same boat. We either will end up moving or something worse may happen.
Sources now saying the military is raising concerns about the criminal activity observed near Air Force sites, and Republicans, they're fighting back with a California GOP congressman sending a letter to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, demanding that he take action. Here with reaction is one of those congressmen, Representative Mike Garcia, along with former Trump senior advisor Stephen Miller. Congressman, let's start with you. Let's talk about the letter and any response.
Yeah, Sean, thanks for having me. Very important topic here. We initiated this letter along with my peers from California. This is a true national security issue, not just for the local citizens, as you saw in the neighborhoods, but we also have Edwards Air Force Base in my district, and they are now reporting that the personnel are not feeling safe in their own facilities, and they're actually having to go to places with escorts. These are international, transnational criminal organizations that are getting free land, free water, growing illegal marijuana over several acres. There's now thousands of these illegal grows. The problem has grown exponentially just in the last 2 months. We've put a bright, shiny light on this, but this is exactly why you don't defund the police. This is exactly why you don't stop funding border security. This is a direct result of both of those phenomenons, and unfortunately, it's gotten out of control. We're hoping that the Attorney General pays attention with the DEA, the FBI, as well as the ATF, and we get all hands on deck. The local sheriff, Villanueva, done a great job in helping us starting to get more attention and more resources on this, but we need to support him.
And California, which is experiencing drought and water shortages for their farmers, talking about 10 million gallons of water daily, according to some estimates. It's bigger than that, too, though, Stephen. This is one part of it. Now they're just using and growing their illegal crops in the U.S., using our electricity, using our water. But we can't forget that 90% of all the heroin in this country crosses that southern border, and the same with fentanyl, and that's killing over 300 Americans every week. And opioid addiction, is way out of control.
What I learned firsthand working with the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol over the last 4 years is that what happens at the border does not stay at the border. The criminal organizations that operate on our southwest border, if they're allowed entry and access into the country, they end up in New York and California and Virginia and everywhere in between. And you see this time and time again. You have criminal organizations operating with near impunity in California because this administration dismantled immigration enforcement. If we were in charge right now, we'd be on the phone with ICE. They'd be down there making arrests right now, protecting these communities. But it's not happening because Joe Biden has made this country a sanctuary country for criminal illegal immigrants. Not just illegal immigrants, but criminal illegal immigrants, members of gangs, cartels, drug trafficking networks, and they're going to hurt and kill innocent Americans.
Congressman, if I aided and abetted criminal activity, I think I'd be locked up and put in jail, but maybe I'm one of the few rule followers because I realize conservatives are treated differently. But how is it not aiding and abetting criminal activity when we have laws that prevent people from entering this country illegally? They're not only entering illegally in the greatest numbers in 20 years, but they're getting the assistance from the Biden administration. 400,000 almost in just the last 2 months. They need food, water, shelter, health care, education. Who's paying for that, Congressman?
Yeah, and exactly right, Sean. You're spot on. This is why we need to pay closer to attention to what's happening in California at all times. Where California goes, the nation goes. Biden's using our state as the blueprint for his policies. So it's no surprise when he starts behaving this way. He is now an enabler at a national level to one of the largest humanitarian crises this globe has ever seen. And it is now, besides our $30 trillion of debt that you were discussing with Maria, the single biggest national security threat to our nation today. It's creeped into my backyard and the bucolic neighborhoods of Palmdale, Lancaster, and we need to fight back, and we are. We're going to fix this problem. But remember, this isn't just a problem in California. It's coming to a neighborhood near you if you're not paying attention.
Last word, 30 seconds, Steve Miller.
I've talked to border agents in recent days who have described a sophisticated strategy on the southwest border where smugglers send massive numbers of family units, massive numbers of minors, and then border agents are diverted to address those numbers of people. And then with the openings that have been created, drugs, contraband, weapons, cash, and criminals are pouring into the country. It's a sophisticated strategy. Border agents know what's happening, but they're being forced to continue this catch-and-release policy on the southwest border that is making our whole nation less safe and putting communities in every part of this country in danger, and it has to stop.
All right. Congressman, thank you. Steve Miller, thank you. When we come